Hello, I've just ridden Yamaha's XJR1300 Racer from Barcelona to Biarritz to go to the Wheels and Waves Custom Bike Festival. It's the proper café racer style edition of the base model XJR1300, which we tested in February. It differs in its carbon front mudguard, pillion seat cover and café racer style handlebar fairing, and in its lower clip-on bars. Now maybe it's the expectation created by lower bars, or maybe it's the extra weight on your arms, but the Racer's adjustable suspension felt softer the moment I sat on it, even though it's actually the same as the base model. On twisty roads, the back end occasionally felt a bit bouncy, never alarmingly so, and I don't think it needs to be sportier, maybe for a track, but not for our 400-mile two-day route through the Pyrenees. It doesn't need to be sportier because, like the base model, the XJR1300 Racer handles really well. At 240 kilograms, it's not light and there's a sense of the mass of that 1251cc air-cooled inline four, but it changes direction easily. It's pointable at high speed and manoeuvrable at low. Some of the journalists on the ride had lots of fun swapping position on the bendy mountain roads. With 98 horsepower and 80 pounds-foot, it's not insanely fast, but the spread of torque is wide and the delivery smooth. The top end's strong, no surprises up there. The red line is at 9,500 RPM. The brakes, twin pots on twin discs at the front and a single pot on a single disc at the rear, are powerful and progressive, not lacking in any respect, unless you mark them down for not having ABS. The Racer has good ground clearance and the grip from the Dunlop Sport Max tyres seemed fine to a point. Some of our journey was in heavy rain and 3 journalists, including me, found the back got a bit flighty in those conditions. Coming around a gentle fast bend at about 60 miles an hour, not leaning over very far, I gave it just a little bit of throttle as the road straightened out and the back end stepped out by about a foot before coming back in. It felt like it threatened to do the same thing again on another occasion, never actually fully let go, and once on a roundabout. The other 2 journalists, both experienced riders, it also went sideways on a roundabout. Among the updates to the XJR1300 for 2015 was a shorter, simplified subframe, presumably with the extra weight of the rider's upper body leaning on those low clip-ons. That means less mass distributed to the rear tyre. I think it's manageable, but it's possibly something just to be aware of, if only in very wet conditions. There's no traction control. It's quite an extreme riding position. The bars are low and far away, so I felt a bit like Superman flying. On twisty roads, you're just focused on riding, so that doesn't really matter, but it gets a bit tiresome on the motorway. And also, while the engine is smooth pulling through 5,000 RPM, it's a little vibey at a constant 5,000 RPM, which is about 80 miles an hour in 5th gear, highest gear. I'm probably making it sound less comfortable than it is now though. We covered about 230 miles on day one. The last 100 dragged on, but I never felt desperate to get off the bike, only tired, and my bum didn't get uncomfortable, probably thanks to the softish suspension. The screen is tiny, barely higher than the twin dial speedometer and rev counter, but because your head is also low, there is some wind protection from it. The mirrors are pretty, but also tiny. When we tested the XJR1300, we got 38.7 miles per gallon, which means a range of about 120 miles from the 14.5 litre tank. On the XJR1300 Racer, the fuel warning light started flashing at 80 miles after filling up. Some readers have said they're worried about the plastic tank swelling because of ethanol in petrol. The owner's manual says it's good for 10% ethanol, which suggests it can cope with levels currently found in UK fuel. Practicality and long-distance touring aren't really what this bike is about. It's supposed to look like a custom bike, to be born customised, as Yamaha puts it, to fit in with the thousands of machines at Wheels and Waves, the massive custom bike festival. The custom bike scene is kind of getting too big to ignore now, and it's a side of motorcycling that might seem inaccessible to the mechanically inarticulate like me. So it's nice that you can get a pseudo-custom bike like the XJR1300 Racer and go along feeling like you're invited rather than a gatecrasher. At least I think you can. For more on that, read my full review on Visordown.com now. There's a link under this video.